Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I wanted to say that right now is a beautiful, lovely day in lockdown Marshall State, Sydney. But today's video subject matter is something non-political. I thought I'd try my hand at biblical theology, and today's is, was Moses' wife a Cushite? Was she a black woman? There seems to be a lot of banter online about this topic among different Christian sects, let's say. And I'm going to go through with you Bible verses and evidence that states that she was in fact a black woman. So, Moses' wife, well, in the Bible she is named Zipporah, or Sephora. Many say Sephora. She is the eldest of 7 daughters, and she is the daughter of the high priest of Midian named Jethro.
Strength to you, stranger.
I am Moses, son of Amram and Yoshabel. Health, prosperity, life to you, Jethro of Midian.
Sephora has told me of your kindness. Let us break bread while my daughter brings meat. You have come far.
From Egypt.
Across the desert, on foot. He who has no name surely guided your steps.
No name. You Bedouins know the God of Abraham?
Abraham is the father of many nations. We are the children of Ishmael, his firstborn. We are the obedient of God.
My people look to him for deliverance. But they are still in bondage.
Tomorrow we leave for the high pastures beneath God's holy mountain. My tent would be favored if you joined us.
I am a stranger in a strange land. I have no wealth, no skill as a shepherd. And it is death to give sanctuary to a runaway slave.
Not among our people. You have wisdom, you need nothing more. And there are 7 here to teach you the tasks of a shepherd. Sephora is the eldest. You can learn best from her.
Now, where is Midian? Let me assert Midian is not Cush. 2 separate things. So most scholars today would agree that Midian would have been situated somewhere in the northwestern Arabian Peninsula. Today's Saudi Arabia would have been where Midian is. So, according to the book of Genesis, chapter 25, verses 1 to 3, Abraham took another wife. So now we're about to move on to a slightly different topic, but still very well related. We're about to talk about Abraham, not Moses. So, Genesis chapter 25, verses 1 to 3. Abraham took another wife whose name was Keturah. She bore him Zimran, Jakshan, Medan, Midian, Ishbak, and Shua. According to that Bible verse, Abraham took upon him a second wife named Keturah. Now, the following Bible verse I want to outline is Genesis chapter 25, verse 6. But to the sons of his concubines Abraham gave gifts while he was still living, and sent them away from his son Isaac eastward to the land of the east. There is debate among scholars and rabbis that Keturah and his concubine Hagar are one and the same. I don't care to debate this either way. It is unusual that there would be a female in the Bible of 2 names. This is not a Paul-Saul type situation we've got going here. Ishmael, we already know, is the firstborn of Abraham, right? So the other siblings have also fathered and mothered the majority of the Middle Eastern world. By this logic, the Midianite people came from one of the children Abraham had. This all matches what we're told in Genesis 25 verse 6. This to me is what would be Midian, and therefore this to me is what Moses' first wife was, Zipporah, Midian.
We cannot see his whole purpose. Even Ishmael did not know that God drove him into the desert to be the father of a nation.
Now, African people today are recognized in 3 tribal groupings: Cush, Bantu, and Nilot. If one was to compare the skull of a Nilot, a Bantu, and a Cushite, the Cushite would appear to be Caucasian, because Cushite is often equated with as Ethiopian, and Ethiopian people have a very Caucasian appearance, except that they happen to be black. Many actually assume that Indian people are in their own grouping, they're their own race. However, if you were again to analyze their skull, their bone structure, one would only be able to determine that they are Caucasian. Have a look at this reference here.
Bantus. So the Bantu group, I am actually a Bantu. So one of the things, we are the biggest group in Africa. So about I would say 70 to 80% of Africans are in the grouping of the people called Bantu. And what's great about Bantus is that we're characteristics with our broad noses, and we have dark skin. Some Bantus tend to have some lighter skins, but the features of the facial structure remain the same. And we also speak related languages as well. And so in almost every part of Africa, you're going to find a lot of Bantu speaking people. The Nilots are also a grouping in Africa. One of the things I learned about the Nilots is that they tended to be very nomadic people. So they move from different parts of Africa to the other. And they also tend to really, really value cattle. And examples of Nilots, especially for my country, are like the Maasai, the Luos. Those are 2 different groups within my country. And one example of a Nilot is actually Lupita Nyong'o. She is of the Nilotic tribe. And so it's a great, great group of people, and they have a great history. Cushites. And so the Cushites are known by, their features are very different. I would say the features tend to be very Western type features. Normal countries where Cushites traditionally are like in East Africa, we have the Ethiopians and Eritreans. Those are examples of Cushites. We have also the Moroccans. And the model Iman is actually an example of a Cushite African, and their head texture tends to be a little bit different. Their skin color tends to be a little bit different on the fairer side, and they tend to have a little bit of pointed noses features as well.
Okay, so arguments have been made by very misinformed souls that because Moses' lineage is not detailed in the Bible, that somehow this is a commentary on what God believes to be asserting a form of segregation. Some people take this to mean that it portrays God's true feelings about those who are biracial. Let me assert something. God has written an entire book for adherents like myself to consume. Additionally, an argument made by silence, by something that has not been stated, is not an argument at all. I could argue that Moses' sons, traveled in a time machine and then traveled to, the current generation and became the 44th president of the United States of America, because it doesn't actually state that. It's an argument made from silence. See the stupidity in that? So, just to quash that, let us refer to the Bible on that topic. Numbers chapter 12 verses 1 to 2. Miriam and Aaron began to walk against Moses because of his Cushite wife, for he had married a Cushite. Has the Lord spoken only through Moses, they asked. Hasn't he also spoken through us? And the Lord heard this. So now Numbers 12:10. When the cloud lifted from above the tent, Miriam's skin was leprous. It became as white as snow. Aaron turned toward her and saw that she had a defiling skin disease. Numbers 12:10. Okay, so maybe none of that suffices for those of you who are super stubborn and still wanting to hold on to your own understanding, which the Bible tells us not to do. So, was Moses' wife black? In the Bible, we have learned that many of the names match the people. For example, Adam means soil. Cain, from Cain and Abel, means possession or spear. Abraham means the father is exalted. David means beloved. Noah means rest. Cush means black. So, what are the facts? Cushite means black, and the Cushite ancestors made up ancient Ethiopia. This is today's modern Sudan. People tend to migrate and move on, and so the Sudanese people today are not really labeled as Cushite. They are more a part of the Bantu tribe. I am happy to include all of the sources that I used in this video and put it in the description box below so that you have a better understanding of what Cushite is, Bantu, and Nilot. The Ethiopian gene in and of itself is recessive. So if a white person and an Ethiopian produce a child and that offspring is half Ethiopian and half white, ordinarily, if that child were to go and end up with a white person again, the gene does phase out. So we don't really know what happened to Moses' children. However, that doesn't mean that they did not continue the bloodline. Alright, well, that was actually a video I had intended on releasing 4, 5, 6 months ago. I didn't want to put anything political up on my channel, so I thought I would revisit this topic. If you liked it, let me know. I'm happy to read all your comments, and God bless you, and pray for your enemies.